Hey, everyone. Ignore the title of this essay for a moment and think about what the most powerful character in Earthbound is. Who do you think it is? Gygus? Ness? Paula with that lethal PK freeze? In-game Pokey? Who? Out of the main party, it's probably Jeff, but that's beside the point. What if I told you none of these characters are the strongest? There's one character more powerful than all of these who would be able to defeat any one of them in a fight. A character who could even beat the game in Ness's place. A character who could do other things no other character could. Who am I talking about? Why, Onett's police chief, Captain Strong, of course. Now, part of you are wondering, who even is Captain Strong? Part of you who have played Earthbound recently might be thinking, Captain Strong is literally one of the first bosses of the game. How is he even a contender in the top 30 strongest in the game, let alone the most powerful? Well, listen, dear audience, for I am about to explain how this one man is single-handedly the most broken character in the game by far. Captain Strong features some decent stats with a base attack of 20, a defense stat of 24, and an HP of 140. Before you say, bruh, that's so weak, why don't you shut up for a second and listen? Captain Strong has the ability to raise his attack infinitely. By losing his temper, his attack goes up by 1 every time he does it, and he can do it as often as he wants. He's literally the Incredible Hulk. That 20 attacks can rise to 20,000 if the battle goes on long enough. But that won't happen, you say. Well, again, shut up. That isn't even the point why he's the strongest, it's just something else in his toolkit. Captain Strong in a normal fight against any old guy, like your dad for example, if he existed, would be able to win easily. Captain Strong also has his super ultra mambo tango foxtrot martial arts that deal quite a bit of damage in the game. This alone makes him stronger than your average bear. There's a reason this guy is chief of police. Okay, sure he's strong, but like, Ness literally defeats him. I swear if you don't stop interrupting me. Excuse me. Anyway, Captain Strong let Ness win. I mean, without even getting into the meat of my argument, I can argue for Captain Strong letting Ness win. Reason 1. Captain Strong is an incredibly tough dude as described above. Reason 2. Captain Strong is completely unfazed after the battle is over. Bro doesn't even have a scratch. Without so much as breaking a sweat, he sends Ness on his merry way after judging him worthy. I really do believe Captain Strong was testing Ness to make sure he'd be able to handle the journey. It's pretty clear he isn't struggling to defeat Ness by any means. After the battle, he literally just goes and sits in his office like nothing happened. There's a third reason why he was definitely letting Ness win, but that comes later. There you go, Captain Strong, just as a man, statistically and with his attack arsenal, is a pretty tough dude. But it's obvious he wouldn't rank near the top in the game's pattern charts with just this alone. I mean, sure, he also has a 1 in 32 chance of dropping an egg, and we all know eggs are cool, but like, that doesn't really mean anything. With all this out of the way, it's time to explain to you, dear viewer, why Captain Strong is just as powerful as I claim him to be. To be clear, this theory isn't a joke. This is not ironic in any way, and I will be proving my point using only evidence found within Earthbound itself. I'll not be making connections to other games or making crazy leaps. This only uses dialogue and information present within the game itself. If it is Earthbound, it's fair game. With that in mind, here's why Captain Strong is the most powerful character in Earthbound. I'm gonna say a familiar phrase. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Knowledge is power. This is true, right? Knowledge typically equals power. If I know more than people around me, I'm certainly going to have advantages over them. Take this a step further. What if I knew the future? What if I knew everything that was going to happen within the context of, let's say, 10 years? I knew who was going to be president next. I would know who would win horse races, and I could bet on them. Now imagine if I could view the future as many times as I chose. Now things get really interesting because I could do anything. I could find out what actions led to what outcomes in my life, whether that would be how to get into certain jobs, positions of power, or what people to interact with to get where. Really, the world would be at my command. I could find out any information I needed, I could find out exactly what to say in conversations, and the list goes on and on. What if I wanted to become president? I could find out exactly what things I'd have to do in order to achieve that. Theoretically, I could take over the world with this much knowledge. If I were able to know exactly what was going to happen in the next 10 years and view it as many times as I wanted with no consequences, I could theoretically find out whatever information I needed to accomplish anything I so desired. Knowledge certainly is power. Now imagine that someone were to have a video game of real life that encapsulated the next 10 years but through the eyes of someone else. They would have the abilities I just described. They'd be able to know everything. They could play the game of their own life. And playing the game takes a lot less time than actually living through life. Imagine all the knowledge they could gain. Just as I've been describing, they could literally do anything. But such a concept is crazy, right? No one has a video game of real life that encapsulates everything that will happen. If someone did have that, they'd be so broken. They'd be the most powerful person on Earth. But there's no way anyone is like that, right? Right? I've been playing Earthbound recently. Do you see this image, ladies and gentlemen? Do you see this? Do you realize what this implies? That's right, dear viewer. This individual right here at this desk is none other than Captain Strong himself. This very man, the Onett police chief, has access to the very world he lives in through a video game. Meaning, he already knew this would happen. He fought himself in the game world. Wonder why I say he let you win? He knew what Ness was doing. He knew Ness's journey. He literally played as Ness in the game. He knows everything about Ness. He knows every possible item Ness could have. He knows every move Ness has at his disposal. He knows where Ness has just been. You ask if Captain Strong could have defeated Ness, he could have destroyed him. Any counter he needed, he could have gained. Captain Strong could have killed Ness in his sleep before the journey even started, and he could have dodged all Ness's attacks because he would have known everything Ness was capable of before he did it. Yes, good old Captain Strong would have definitely been able to beat Ness. But dear viewer, the madness doesn't even stop close to here. Captain Strong knows the location of every item, he knows every citizen, he knows everything about Onett. Moving past Onett, Captain Strong knows the location of every sanctuary, he knows exactly how to get to Gygus, he knows where all the party members are, he knows literally everything. Captain Strong could literally beat the game in Ness's place. He would know to gather the party members, and then he could go to the same route, except he doesn't even need the sanctuaries. He could just get the people and get Paula to pray. Heck, he could maybe beat Gygus all on his own by praying himself, or using poison. Knowledge is power, and Captain Strong possesses all the knowledge in the world in his very hands. He presses some buttons, the world he lives in is his to access, and he can learn anything he needs to accomplish any goal. He knows the future, he knows the past as far back as the game begins, and he knows exactly what will take place in the present. Captain Strong doesn't do anything with this ability, as he recognizes what needs to take place for the world to be saved. He tests Ness as it's his own role, and he sits back and allows the world to be inevitably rescued by Ness and party. Captain Strong, just as his name suggests, is very strong. So how do we prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that Captain Strong is in fact the most powerful? Well, I mean, it's obvious because of the reasons I just stated, but some of you might want more. How do we usually decide who's the best at winning? Boxing, chess, etc. Well, you make the best people fight, and then you learn who's the best. So, I'm going to go through the strongest people in Earthbound and explain why Captain Strong would beat all of them. Gygus. I already explained why Captain Strong would beat Gygus. He would know exactly what steps to take in order to defeat him, which people to recruit, where to go, and what to use. Gygus would put up a fight, sure, but good old Captain Strong starts praying, or Apollo, depending on his choice, and it's over.
OMG, but Gygus could literally, he's so strong, he could kill Captain Strong in one hit.
Shut up, okay? He wouldn't, because again, Captain Strong could gather a bunch of people to help him, like get Pooh to spam PSI shield to protect him, or get someone else to be a meat shield. Captain Strong can also have a move that cuts the... I wrote can also in the script, doesn't make any sense. Captain Strong also has a move that cuts the damage he takes by 50%, rendering him able to tank Gygus' attacks. He most likely would train for this battle just as Ness does, minus the absorption of sanctuaries. Ness, I already discussed why he'd beat Ness. Paula, non-complicated answer, he could literally just arrest her. Slightly more complicated answer, he could wait until after she had been fighting enemies so her PP is drained and then come out swinging. There are actually a lot of different ways he could beat her, but this is probably the most simple. Again, keep in mind, he literally knows everything he chooses to know. Pooh. Literally just encounter him early in the game and it's over. A reminder that Pooh sucks until later in the game. Jeff. The only somewhat difficult fight when you first start thinking about it. Jeff is busted in this game, considering him one-shot bosses. But alas, Captain Strong could literally just arrest him. For Jeff, there really wouldn't be anything he could do about that. Late game Pokey. He could be defeated the same way as Gygus, but even easier. Captain Strong could bottle rocket that boy. Starman DX. Same as the others. Captain Strong knows everything he chooses to, including exactly how to beat any enemy. Whatever assets he needs, he knows exactly how to get them and where. Multi-bottle rocket. I think I've proved my point. There you go. That's why Captain Strong is the most powerful character in Earthbound. Any Reddit thread that tries to convince you otherwise is simply uneducated on the game's lore. Before I go home, though, I'd like to address some possible arguments that might arise.
The sharks break the fourth wall too, doesn't that make them just as broken?
No, not at all. The shark line is, come back when you finished Earthbound. This implies that specific shark is aware of the player's journey. Specifically. None of the other sharks say anything about this, just this one. And Ness obviously isn't playing a game either, so this doesn't imply he's talking to Ness. Clearly, this shark is self-aware and is talking to the player. He says, "Come back when you finished Earthbound." Obviously, Ness isn't playing Earthbound. He doesn't even know what that is. It's the name of the game he's in. For this case, I'm arguing that this single shark is aware of the player and is speaking to them about finishing Earthbound. It's literally the only way that makes sense. This shark doesn't have access to Earthbound, and neither does anyone else. In fact, it's honestly unknown where Captain Strong obtained Earthbound, as there aren't any places that sell video games in Onett. Maybe in Forside, but we never see any video game stores in the whole game. Perhaps Captain Strong has some sort of strange powers we don't know about?
Captain Strong's abilities are only limited to the ones he has, plus resources in the game. The guy might know way too much, but I think your thoughts on him beating everybody are stretching it.
I think you underestimate how much in-game powers are at his disposal with the ability to view his world from outside of it. What if, say, Captain Strong discovered the debug menu? Suddenly, he has the ability to do anything. He isn't bound to what he can achieve with his own body using what he knows about the world. With this, he has literally become godlike. He can summon anything, go anywhere, summon anyone, give himself as much power as he desires, change his level to any amount he desires. Possibilities are endless. His power would be overflowing, and everything he could access from the debug menu he could theoretically get without it, just much slower. But it would be possible for him to discover it. He certainly would have the means. And with that, I'm done. I just felt it was necessary to share this information with the world. So next time you and your nerdy Earthbound enjoy your friends are having a stupid power scaling argument, don't forget to include Onett's great police chief, Captain Strong, as he is not only one of the strongest in the game, but in fact the most powerful in the game. Knowledge is power, or in Captain's case, perhaps knowledge is strength. Thank you everybody, and good night.